delay, and I'm changing the gate time of the arpeggiator, and on this side I'm going to be changing the number of notes when I'm arpeggiating. If I just hold down 2 notes, it would play those notes, and then as I come closer to this side of the cube, I'm going to start moving it up through the 12 note range and on up as I move. So one of the coolest things about cubes, you can't do easily with other interfaces, is you can control 4 parameters at the same time with a sensor cube. So I can pick this up and totally be manipulating 4 things at the same time, which is pretty hard to do with knobs and sliders. So I brought the launch pad as a way to give you visual feedback as to what I'm doing with live. So when I'm working on this side, you're going to see lights. These are the scene lights. Go off right before I change. I've got it set to 1 bar, to lead by 1 bar, so that I can flip a cube and it's not going to come in on time for like another bar. At some point I'm going to switch to user mode 2. All the lights are going to go off, and I'm going to be playing some synths here and changing some of their parameters in real time using this cube. So let's give it a go. So remember, this is a sender, receiver, sensor. Basically, I'm just routing these MIDI notes and continuous controllers, the same thing you could do from any controller. But what happens, I can just tell you from playing with them for a while, is that you get into this weird mindset when you start using the cubes that you don't get into if you're using keyboards. You know, you start looking at the lights and trying to time when the cube comes down and lifting it up. So, you know, it takes a lot of practice, but it actually, I think, influences your music in weird ways. You start working on these jams with your technology, and at some point you transcend it and you just start thinking about the cubes and writing different songs with the cube. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is a simple song. You can use them for theremins, you could use them for scratching, you know, anything you can think of. It's just a visual interface, and I think I've seen a lot of DJs use it in 1 or 2 controller setups where they're just using it to, you know, kind of add a little light to the show in a micro way. So I have a couple shirts. I talked to Bert and Percussa. We'll have a little contest. I have some Percussa shirts. And I don't work for Percussa, I'm just a fan. So. All right, let's have a contest. Let's see. What mode was this cube in, this one down here? Sensor, who said? What size? Okay. Let's see. What's the name of the app that talks to Ableton Live? Who said that?
This is easy.
Here's an Ableton question. What's the shortcut if I want a MIDI map?
Command M.
Ah, there it is.
Done too much of that.
Let's see. What do cubes cost?
200.
That's too easy. When I'm using this, oh, how do I send light? How do I send light commands?
Dummy clips.
Dummy clips. All right. Any questions about the cubes? And I blasted through that pretty quick. I was just trying to kind of give you the edges of the puzzle and play a little bit and show you how they worked. Any questions?
2 quick questions. The surface doesn't matter. It's just the cube.
Right. That's my groovy IKEA table that I've repurposed to be a cube surface. Yeah.
They're only plugged in to charge and to program them.
It depends on their function, and it also changes as they improve their firmware. So this is a computer, and through the USB port, you upgrade your firmware. There's been multiple updates. So right now, with MIDI bridge, sender cubes can be completely wireless. If you want to send light commands to the cubes, it goes through USB 2 protocol, which is why it's so fast. I don't know if you saw it at some points. There was builds and flashes and all this stuff. Why it's so fast is it's USB 2, so you have to be plugged in to send it. This cube in sensor mode has to be plugged in right now. But I've been talking to Bert about, you know, we've got to get rid of cables, man. So I think that's one of their goals, is to figure out how, because there's already communication through infrared.
There's wireless USB out now, so we just need to switch to that.
Yeah, but if the cube could do it, it would be even easier, right? Then I wouldn't even have to configure. They would just, maybe through Bluetooth or something. So the thing about Percussa is that it's a small company, a couple of people, and they just want to make the cubes better. And so that's, firmware updates have already changed their function since I've owned them. So.
And is the actual programming software for that's not running while you did this performance, right?
So the cubes talk through MIDI bridge, so it's processing spatial relationship and hand positioning and things like that. And also in modular, they're doing things where you can actually run more wireless in that particular app, and the topology of the network is more known to that application. So there is actually intelligence on the cubes. MIDI bridge is pretty straightforward. I'm just trying to do continuous controllers. So. You're stunned.
Kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, very cool.
So anyway, I'll leave this set up, and after at the end of the night, I can show you how some of that routes. If you're into the detail of how to, how I'm routing all these things through. And just so you know, I was using Ableton Live. Most of that was VSTs, Alchemy, and Absinthe 5, and I'm also using Artillery 2 because the cubes send notes. Artillery 2 is a VST plugin that does, that's how I did the ending, where it's sort of like it's a scratch. I just sent a MIDI note to Artillery 2, and it's all designed to be driven by notes, so it's perfect for receiver cubes. All right, thanks for listening.
Thanks, Mark.